You built a good system, wrote it down, walked your team through it, but 3 weeks later, nobody's following it, and you're only finding out afterwards that things got done differently. So you figured maybe your system wasn't good enough, that it just needed more detail or better software. But your system didn't fail. The first time it got inconvenient, you skipped it. Fix this, and your systems survive when the pressure hits. So in the next few minutes, I'll walk you through why your systems keep dying, the exact moment they become optional for your team, and how to keep one exception from undoing the systems you built. You probably did everything right, wrote your process down and put it somewhere easy to find, and when it didn't stick, you made it more detailed and added missing edge cases. Maybe you even bought new software for it, a project management tool or an SOP platform. The problem is, everyone treats this as a documentation issue, that if your system was just good enough, people would use it. But you know you've built good systems, and yet your team still stopped following them. And that's because no matter how good your system is, your team's still going to skip it if they see that that's what you do. Your system doesn't die when your team goes around it, it dies the first time you do, and the sequence is always the same. You build the process, it holds for a couple weeks, then something comes up that makes you feel like it doesn't apply this time. Maybe it's urgency, where you have a client issue and following the process takes longer than skipping it. Or maybe you just know something that the process doesn't. So you skip it, just this once. And you weren't wrong. That day, skipping it was the right call. You were right about the situation and nothing burned down, but your team watched you do it and it taught them something. Your written process tells them your rule, but what you do the first time you disagree with it tells them whether it's real. And now they know something they didn't know before. The system is what we do by default, but when there's a good reason, it's optional. You didn't announce this, you demonstrated it. And that's a problem, because what counts as a good reason for your team may not be a good reason for you. Exceptions are rational today, but expensive over time. A lesson I learned the hard way when running my e-commerce business. My team was handling inventory, and they had a clear formula for telling them how much to order. Things were running smoothly, and they were able to keep everything in stock without me getting involved. But then we were launching a new product. I was making a new colored shadow box, and I knew it was going to eat into the sales of one of my other ones, so I told my team to order 400 units instead of 500, which was a reasonable call. I was closer to the product launch than they were, and I was right. It did cannibalize sales from the original product. What I didn't realize is that when I told my team to order 400 units, they didn't hear cut the order when the new variation will eat sales from another one. They just heard whenever we launch a new variation, order less units. So the next product launch, they did it again, ordered under the formula, and they had a good reason, it just wasn't mine. This time, the new variation barely affected sales of my other products, meaning we went out of stock on our bestseller, lost revenue, and dropped ranking on Amazon. Nobody stopped using my formula, it just became the starting point instead of the final answer. This taught me that the problem isn't the system, it's what you do the moment you decide to go around it. And sooner or later, you will go around it. So here are 3 steps for handling that moment so your one-offs stay one-off and your system survives it. First, catch yourself overriding your system. This sounds obvious, but it's the hardest one. When you step in, it doesn't feel like you're overriding a system, it just feels like you're making a good call, because it is one. You know something your process doesn't, and that's why you don't flag it. Nothing about that moment tells you it's significant. You're not breaking a rule, you're solving a problem. So the question isn't, am I about to do something wrong? It's simpler than that. It's, is there a process for this, and am I about to do something differently? And when you miss this, and you will, still ask yourself afterwards, did that process get handled the way it normally does? Also, when you do catch yourself stepping in, it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you need to. It's only a problem when you step in without communicating to your team why you did it, which takes us to step 2. Give your team your reasoning, not just the decision. When your team sees you override something, they only see the outcome. They don't know the reasoning unless you hand it to them. So they build their own reason, and theirs will be more simple and general than yours, because they're working backwards from your result. They don't see all the small details that got you there. Mine was, this variation's going to eat sales from the original, so order less units. My team's was, variation launches means we order less units. Both produce the same decision, but one of them costs you money. Now, once you've given your team your reasoning, it's time for step 3. Tell your team where not to apply your reasoning. Telling your team this is a one-off isn't enough. They'll still look for the next situation that resembles this one, and when they find it, they'll skip your system too. So instead, name the situations where they'll be tempted to do what you did but shouldn't. Like, only use this rule when the new variation competes directly with the original. For all other variations, just stick to the formula. That's what keeps your judgment attached to your decision. Without it, they've got your results, and they'll supply their own reasoning. Now it's your turn. This week, find the last system your team went around, don't rebuild it, and instead, find the first time you went around it. There will be a time. Ask what your team learned from watching that, then tell them what you want them to do differently. And then next time you override a system, don't just tell your team why, tell them when not to apply your reasoning. That's the difference between making an exception and making a system optional. Now, if this resonates and you keep building systems but your team stops following them, that's a pattern that I work on with founders. I put together a free training on it, links in the description if you want to check it out. And for more content like this, just hit subscribe. All right, I'll see you in the next one.